this is Steve.
That should be there then. Next. Let's open this so that I can see just in case anybody chats. I wish there was just a chat. I wish there was just a...
Getting a bit of an echo.
Yeah, that's because... So, the only way I know at the moment to chat is to turn on Twitch and watch myself. That cannot be the way you're supposed to interact and chat with Twitch. But for right now, it is.
This says it's downloading something. I don't see any indication that it actually is. Here, I'll share my screen in Zoom for a minute.
Hold on. Give me a second, because... So, it says it's downloading something. Does it say it installed something?
It says downloading Chrome Remote Desktop extension, but it's... I don't see a download happening. Let me just close this and try again.
I'll try just opening another window and go to remote.desktop again and see if one of the options is get support.
I see remote support and remote access. Get support. Okay, I'm going to click that.
Yep.
Now it's doing something. Empty Chrome.
And then it will give you a key that you're going to send to me. And then, did you chat that to me?
No, it's having an issue here. An error has occurred. Okay.
So there's like a generate code that should give you a thing.
It didn't even get that far for me. What is going on? Let me just kill my Chrome again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, remote desktop. Get support. There's a window popping down and then it disappears. And I'm guessing that's...
Does it say generate code?
No, I'm not even that far.
Okay, so then something else is wrong. Up at the top it says remote access, remote support.
Yes.
Go to remote support.
Well, when I just tried to add the plugin, it's locked me up in Chrome again. Let me see what version of Chrome I have. Maybe I need to update.
Usually that means there's like a little green thing in the upper right hand corner that you can just click.
I don't see the green thing.
Alright, let's try it. Share your screen on Zoom for a second. We'll get to sharing it on Chrome.
So this is what I see, and then this thing gets locked up.
So the checking. And so this does look like the right thing. Close that window for a second.
Oh, hold on. What did I do?
Go back to Chrome. There we go. That's starting to look. But it still looks, your Chrome looks weird. Add to Chrome. There. This part usually goes much quicker. Let's try close this for a second. Okay, up here, can you put this full screeny kind of thing?
Which thing full screen?
You're still in Safari right here.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, so close Safari.
I had Chrome. There. Because I just killed Chrome.
Alright.
I don't think I can close that too. I don't think that'll matter though.
Okay, so where I would expect to see the update thing is over on the right. I don't see it over by where the hamburger menu is. Okay, click on there though, on the hamburger menu anyways.
This one?
Yep. And let's check, check your settings and check your extensions, plugins, whatever it is called. Okay, so in here, do search for extensions and do remote desktop. Okay, let's open it up there, hit the download one more time. I have a bad feeling this is going to look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something came up and went away. Did you see that?
I did see that. Did it go away or did it just go behind this window? Behind this window?
That's
behind the other window. All right. Well, in that case, let's just use Zoom.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to move you over to the other window. Let's see. Do that.
So when I pulled earlier and I reran Maven, now it's not finding JUnit. So none of the tests run for me.
All right, we will check that in 1 second. There we go. Okay. All right. Doesn't find JUnit. That's a weird thing. This is just a fresh pull.
Yeah.
Right click on the Java. You should have Maven options.
Okay.
Maybe. Not settings.
Okay.
Like maybe ways profiles. Try profiles. That doesn't seem right. Oh no, there it is under lifecycle. Do a install. Okay, so the first thing is this is somewhat promising, right?
So what it ran some of these before, but when I searched for file approver test, that was not great.
Some of the tests purposely throw exceptions, so it might not be bad.
And combination test didn't, so like combination test doesn't show up in the output here for file approver test. These are in a different package than this.
So do the, instead of the install, do the verify.
Okay. Oops. I'm not sure what I just did there.
Also, probably it looks like you're doing this just on Ap.provalTests.java. Is there like a verify for everything? Oh, this is the root.
Yeah, this is the root. Let me do that again with build. So where do the com.spawn ones come from?
That should be in utils.
Okay. So then search for final improver. It's not showing up. Or combination. Combination doesn't show up either.
That's interesting. I apologize, this should run. Can you run other tests other than this one?
I can't run any of the tests under this package or this project. Let me try these machine specific ones. I never tried these.
Yeah,
these have the same
work
thing.
anyways, but try it.
Okay. Yeah, it's not finding JUnit in there either.
What happens if we click on that and do the quick fix?
Here?
Yeah. Add JUnit to class path. Whoa.
Oops. Really?
Go back to that one.
So let's change the POM.
Yeah. Probably want to undo that. What are you using as your Git client? Never mind. That's weird.
So
that's there.
Which file did it change?
Do you have a visual Git client?
No, but we can use IntelliJ.
Sure, let's do that. It's like Control Shift K or something. Yeah. No.
Shift K?
That's
push. That's not the one I want.
Shift. Oh, the Git tab down there on the bottom.
Git. There we are. Okay.
All right, and then hit refresh for a second. I think what this is saying is you're on head, and there are no changes at the moment. But all right, I think that's what it's saying. So
yeah.
Okay, so make that a little smaller, and then let's go and click on the before and quick fix again. There's something Maven related. Add Maven dependency. That doesn't seem right.
It's interesting that it's looking for 4.12.
That would make sense. I think that's what we're using.
It was just upgraded to 4.13.
Oh, okay. Canceling. Do you think that somehow IntelliJ is loading it, not from Maven?
Maybe. Yeah, it was 4.13. I looked in here, and I thought I saw it. Yeah, 4.13 is right there.
So, I mean, one way you can do that is just kill the project, and nuke the IntelliJ, and then reopen it as a Maven project. Open up the approval test and go look at a test.
Does this still have? It looks like I've modified this. Let's revert this. Just get
Wait. Don't change anything yet. Even
Okay.
if you have modified it.
Yeah, that doesn't look right.
Doesn't look right. And doesn't look like it's working. Alright, so, but you just cleaned everything. Why is it modified?
Well, I had done that when we
You just
changed
did
it earlier.
get.
That thing.
How did that get happening though?
When we did the alt enter
For that.
on the
But then you just
before.
do a get clean?
Yeah, but that doesn't roll back. I need to do a
Alright.
get checkout to,
Yeah,
or I could do a get reset.
let's do a reset hard.
Okay. So that's back now.
Close IntelliJ.
Okay. Let me do that.
And then the other thing is, when you open it, I think you can open as Maven, right?
Yeah, I think when you open a palm, let me close this. It does that for you. But we can look at doing it differently. Just cancel it out. Or anything in there. It's not doing anything.
Wait, open two IntelliJs?
I killed the one that I had.
What's the one behind it?
Oh, that's Android Studio.
Is that, but that's also open to approval tests?
No, this is open just to a basic. This is
okay.
I just created a fresh
Yeah.
Android project. So I don't remember how to tell it just to open a project.
Open or import. And then go find the directory. And
I'm just going to do that.
Alright, try that.
Yeah, that was project.
Yeah. Let's open that up and see if it. That's different than I was expecting.
It should load here in a second when it's working down here. There it goes.
Okay.
And this is how I opened it earlier. So I'm guessing it's probably in the same state.
That makes sense.
That's still indexing.
This is a JUnit 3 test, right? See if you can run that.
Still indexing.
Still indexing.
You want to try on your machine?
Possibly, although I don't have Android Studio, but we can definitely pull it up on my machine.
Do you have IntelliJ Ultimate?
Yeah, IntelliJ.
That's almost done.
Although, actually, I do most of my deployment for this inputs.
There we go. Hey, now it's happy.
Alright. I don't know what we did different.
I don't either.
But turning it off and on is a tried and true tech solution.
Now let's see if we can run this test.
It's already looking better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're passing the test.
So, you want me to show you the issue?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So creating just a brand new Android project, going into the unit test file that it creates for you, and just doing approvals verify on anything, and we get this. It can't access buffered image. Because java.ewt is not available on Android.
Can you show me what line that's coming out?
So
click into approvals.verify.
Okay.
Alright. And then do a search and open up your imports here. And buffered image is right here. Go find out where it's needed for. Okay, we can do a verify buffered image here. That makes sense. Go up and show me the API at the top again, the imports. AWT. Alright, let's do this. Go back to approval tests. We are going to make a breaking change right off the bat. But
Okay. A thought I had, but we can go whatever direction you want, is if we took these things that don't depend on AWT, and maybe there's some other stuff in here. There you go. This Java SQL result set may be problematic too. I'm not sure about that. If we take everything else and move it into like approvals.core or something like that, then this interface could stay the same.
Still can't stay the same. The problem, like if you go back down to that thing, right? That find the buffered image one. Yeah. So this method right here isn't the problem. The problem is the signature to this method. The signature to this method breaks what we're trying to do.
Right. So I was suggesting if we had something like a core or whatever we want to call it, and then people that don't want to use those, this API here of all the overloads that verify, could just use core and just have the basics on that.
I'm gonna go the other
and then
way.
they could get around it. Okay. You just want to check this out.
I'm gonna pull this out, yeah, because it's gonna be less destructive to people.
Okay.
If we do a core, everybody's stuff changes. Where if we pull out, oh, I see what you're saying.
Because then here we could have core.verify.
Yeah. And then Android would just use core.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing I like about what you said is it maintains backwards compatibility, which is great. That's an important thing. The thing I don't like about it, what you said, is it makes the API worse.
It makes it harder to know which one to use.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't like the name core as much. Like I just we're going to do this in two very quick succession steps. One that doesn't break the API, which we're going to release immediately, and then one that does break the API, which we're going to release immediately. Just gives people a path, right? So if you jump from here to here, and something's wrong, jump to the middle one, and deal with your issues there.
Mm-hmm.
So create a class called AWT approvals.
Where do you want it to be?
Right next to approvals, basically. Yeah, make a subdirectory called AWT. Folder. And then inside of there, make the thing AWT approvals.
Is WT lowercase? Okay.
You always take the acronym as if it's a word. Alright, and then go grab those three methods, copy them. Actually, or in IntelliJ, just move them. No, copy them.
So there's these two.
And
there's another one.
go up to the top of the thing.
Component, I think is what I
Find
would
that.
get.
Yep.
Oops. Oh, there's it there. There we go.
And just go check again, make sure those are all the things.
Will this show me? That's not valid.
Alright, so let's start by getting them working in the places we just pull them out to.
Okay. There's one component, and there's. Did I get image? Yes, I got image. Okay. And then buffer image, and that looks like all of them. Oh no, there's another one down here. What's the difference between those? Oh, the name. Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is. There's another thing I really need to do to Java approvals, which I haven't done yet, which is move the options that we developed in C++ back into this, but one thing at a time. All right, so on line 14, let's start at the top. We are programming by red. Create approval namer needs to. Thank you. No, approvals dot create approval namer. Yeah, if I want fully qualified.
Okay.
All right. Image approval writer. What's going on with that? Oh, the verify in on line 22 is in approvals.verify. Same on line 27. Same. Oh, that's fine. It is interesting that it doesn't use it.
Yeah, that was unused up there too. Yeah.
And it's private?
And it's private, yeah.
Fill it. Is it used back there?
The name is not. Let's see what this is.
Find usages.
Yeah.
Huh. That's.
Look. You want to use it here?
When you have the approvals on line 27, control click into that method to verify.
This one?
Yeah. Oh, it just does that anyways. Go back to where we were. And that's corrupt. Let's clean it up. Kill it. No, yeah, sorry, cancel.
Yep.
So this takes a buffered image. So if you delete the, and it even says approve. Wow, is that old code? Delete namer. Actually, rename this to verify buffered image.
Okay.
To get rid, now clean the signature to get rid of the namer.
I don't know why I didn't get that.
Anyhow, that's good enough. Now let's go. Okay, so now this we believe is working. So now let's go back to approvals. Kill the private one that we have there.
That one.
Approve, yeah, that one. Bam. And let's go find everywhere else we have image or component. So this image is, no, you have to keep it for right now. So we're going to deprecate it.
What do we want to do with this since I just killed that private method?
So this, we're going to call awtapprovals.verify image.
Okay.
You have a dot, but it's really not a dot, it's just and you're just going to pass the image straight into it. No, and not even, just the parameters, it's just a pass through.
Okay.
And then on the deprecated, can you say like C or some way to tell it what to use?
What's the
Google knows this.
sense?
No,
Or
just Google Java deprecated C. That is not looking right. Deprecated since for removal. So for removal is going to be true. It looks like it's in the Java docs that we do the C.
do I add Java doc?
Yep. If you just do // I think it does it. No, it was / star. So another star. No, 2 stars. There you go. And then change that param to deprecated. At deprecated. And just say use, and then copy that line of text instead. Alright, copy lines 113 through 117.
Is it not happy here? I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong there. Okay, so copy these, you said?
Let's find out what you're doing wrong before we copy it. So go back to that. Go back to the.
Oh. I think this POM is set for Java 1.8.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay, take rid of the for removal. All right, copy that, and the deprecated.
I don't need these
And we're
anymore.
going to do the same thing down on 122. And say literally the same thing. Same line. Yeah.
Just snap this.
And then we have a component as well. You might want to do a search for component.
spacing. I'm using 2 up there. All right. Okay. So there's also an image. We got the image. We got buffer image. It's all those. We got component. I'm not sure if that one's problematic or not.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to load up the thing. Are you doing this? Which one? Result set? So
yeah.
Let's assume at the moment that it isn't.
Okay.
Because it's not flagging when you do the thing. Right. It looks like we have some dead imports there. Can we clean those as well?
I don't remember what that is.
Click on 21 and just say quick fix. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
All right. Save those. Let's go. This is weird. Import Java AWT star.
That was when I optimized the imports. It changed that.
Why did it change it to a star? It should have only been 2 things, right?
Yeah.
Can you...
Let's see what was there. So there's a component and image.
And that's it. Optimize the imports again? Or, yeah.
Let me just add it in.
It's fine. You can leave the star. I don't care enough. But something's wrong in our optimized imports. Okay, so the next thing is we need to write a features thing. So let's go and open up the file features.source. I want that one. And then right after TOC, put 2 hash marks. And it's going to be 6.0.1. And then underneath that, put 3 hash marks. And then underneath the 3 hash marks, do another hash marks, 2 hash marks. And then just say previous versions. All right, so, and the 3 hash marks say prepare for Android. And then underneath there, say we have deprecated, and put the list of the 3 methods.
Oops. Do you want approvals dot on all those?
So I want approvals dot on all those, and I want it as a bulleted list.
Is it shift option? There we go.
So what was it in the end?
Shift alt.
Yep. And then in front of it, can you put a backtick? And at the end, put backticks as well. Before
here?
the A in approvals. Yeah, backtick. And then at the very end, I'm not sure how this works. Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
I think you can cursor select again, but I would just click and do the 3. That'd be faster.
There.
There you
Okay.
go. Good. And then underneath it, just say, these are now in the AWT approvals. Yep. And then let's commit this, give a pull request, and I will release it.
I don't remember your methodology.
So, strictly speaking, this is a refactoring, so it would be capital R, bang bang. Okay, we didn't really do it with tests, so no space. And then pulled out or extracted AWT approvals.
We should be able to run the existing tests.
Yep,
right?
it would still keep me at an R bang bang.
Okay.
Like, I believe this to be a valid refactoring.
Extracted AWT approvals.
And then give me that pull request.
I'm not starting to master. There we go.
Okay. I have those in here now. Update my version to 6.1. Yeah. Publish those. Find the password. For some reason, it seems to be taking longer than normal to come up. One of the things is I think the streaming is quite intensive. So one of the reasons a lot of times we don't do the actual dev on the same machine. Oh, well, you just got a build failure.
What did we break?
Can you really quickly run the verify on yours?
I just run those tests. So run the root and lifecycle off verify.
It says failure. And it doesn't really give me a failure message, which is weird. Let's see if it duplicates the same problem on your machine. I'll be right back.
Uh-huh.
All right. Are you building?
So it built, but it's still got the problem where I'm not seeing the output for the tests in this directory. Although this time when I ran them, they all ran.
Just go to your command line and do a maven.
Test or verify?
Verify.
Yeah, it's all those passed.
Alright, so I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay.
Oh, you have disabled screen sharing. Can you enable that?
Oh.
Question you're gonna ask is how, but
we can share it anyway. There we go. Oh, there we go.
Alright. And then, so this is what, so this is what I'm getting. Failure. But I don't see. Here, exit code 2. Help 1. Oh! No, it just timed out. Sorry. I think that's what happened. I bet that's what's happened. So let me try that again.
Mine ran in 6 milliseconds. Feels like mine's not doing something right.
6 milliseconds? Or 6 milliseconds for a single one.
For the whole thing. So it feels like it's skipping the whole
thing?
Yeah.
Mine is definitely taking more than 6 milliseconds.
Yeah, when it says building approval test.java, I don't see it running the test there.
Try doing tests instead of verify and see if it gives you.
Okay.
I do believe verify calls tests, but
I think so too.
There we go. That's. By the way, I'm not sure if I've seen you since I did your kata with Lars.
Oh, you did?
We did the it's like a trading simulation kata.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. Did Lars talk to you about it?
No, I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks.
So we did the kata. It was very interesting. It felt like work, which is like I mean that in a compliment, because legacy code katas usually feel like toy problems.
Mm-hmm.
The way we did it is we started with you had like a locking test that was slow, like half hour, or I say half
30
hour,
seconds.
30 seconds. So we very quickly made a second test and cut the code so that we could call it. It was like a microsecond test. We then had to sort of cut the code a little bit more so we could pass in meaningful stuff, which basically was we'd pass in the values of the averages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a combination test coming pretty quickly. We cut it one more time. So we got that. We ran a couple tests. We realized sort of the section of the code that we wanted. We extracted that. So now we just were doing the by part of it. And then we ran combinations on it, and we just couldn't get, even though we were running like 10,000 combinations, we weren't getting into the section of the code that we wanted to it actually bind something.
Interesting.
And I should have done this in a slightly different way than I did, but anyhow, the way we ended up doing it was, so we put a breakpoint in to try to figure out like how far can we get down that large if section, right, of conditionals. And we got to the very end, and this was crazy. We're like, okay, well, let's extract this variable, the calculation of the average 10 days, and it would no longer hit the same place. So extract local variable,
Broke it?
change the behavior.
Interesting.
Which it took us a long time to figure out, but basically, what?
Do you have this recorded?
So wish that I did.
I
okay. So wish I like. Afterwards, I was like, "Oh damn, we really should have twitched that one." We didn't because my internet was just all kinds of crazy. I wasn't even sure if we were going to make it through, much less be able to stream it. I should have totally recorded it. So, yeah, sorry. So anyhow, like what we figured out in the end was that it never should have gotten to the sixth conditional anyways, because the what it was doing, it was passing 1 is less than 1, right? Because doubles are lossy, and so for some reason, even though the value only had 1.0, when it would average and sum it up in the stream, sometimes it produced a different 1.0 than the other 1.0, right? And so it was passive. And when we extracted it, it didn't do that. Or we also tried like with the exact same code, calling it with the same conditions, and it wouldn't do it either. But it would reliably do it the other way. So there was some sort of caching of doubles or something going on somewhere that made something happen. Like, it was crazy to see, and like it really threw us for a loop. So then, basically, once we figured out that it never even should have gotten to that line, we just extracted the variables, and then we were like, okay, we need values to get us to here. And this I actually should have done differently, but I didn't have the tool available to me at the time, or the process available. So what we did is we opened up Desmos Calculator, and we basically like a nicer version of Excel for the way that we used it. And then we put in the math, and then we as variables, and we moved it until we found values that got us into that range. right? Because we were even looking at the math at that point. We're like, well, it's either really big or really small. We're not sure which. So we moved it. And we're like, okay, it needs to be small. And then we were able to, once we did that, we were able to put in values that actually got us by values. And then we ended up pulling out something, and this is from memory from like a week ago, so it's going to go a little bit weird, but in the end, our code basically said something like, if the stock is trending up and it's within some value, I forget what that value is called, but like kill or crive or I don't know, something like that.
The VIX?
VIX, yeah. So if it's trending up and it's within the VIX thing and it isn't going crazy, buy it. And that was the logic that we ended up.
That's funny. That's like almost like, so this is something real that I wrote.
Yeah.
And then I inlined a bunch of stuff to make it look a lot worse. And some of the actual variables I had were I called it no whipsaw. Instead of not crazy high or whatever you call it. The other ones were basically the same name that you came up with.
So and when we got to that, that's finally when we were sort of looking at each other and we're like, I think we understand what this code does now, right? Because up until that point, we were working safely, but we really weren't understanding what the code did. We were just we couldn't express intent, right? We could just say, well, it compares these two numbers, and if it does, but we had no intent. So that was the intent that we ended up with. And that's sort of where we ended with. The other thing that we ended with was that we didn't actually implement the new feature, but we also realized at that point that the place where we would implement the new feature did not have access to any of the variables that the new feature was supposed to depend on. Right? So that the somewhere those variables needed to get like the interface, because we were at a place where we're like, well, we have a decider now on whether or not you want to buy, right? So we had sort of a buy logic, and we're like, we should write another one that says, so if this buy logic is true or the other buy logic is true, buy the stock. And the new feature, all the things it depended on basically weren't in the other buy logic. So we weren't passing them in. And that's basically where he ended it. But it was a really enjoyable kata to do, despite that weird dip on the thing. I thought I'd share.
How long did it take you?
I want to say it was something like 2 to 3 hours from start to finish. Which was longer than we expected. It was a lot shorter I think it was maybe like an hour and a half to get to. We had thoroughly combination tested it. Every once in a while, by the way, we would run the 30-second test. It usually was when we're like, we want to refactor this piece and we can't figure out how to get our combination test to get into the piece of logic. Because the thing that was nice about the 30-second test is, even though it displayed very nothing results, it was actually quite thorough. It went through a lot of data, and it was hitting combinations that we didn't realize to get close to, because we didn't realize, even though we were testing 10,000 combinations, we didn't realize that extra thing of, and it has to not be crazy. The numbers we used were 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, right? And those all blew the crazy, right? Because any one of those was a large percentage jump. So we thought we were taking small steps, but we weren't at all. And so once we finally figured out what the hell, I really do wish I had the recording, because it really was an hour or an hour and a half of us just not understanding what, we were looking at it and we're like, we made this method, And when we had this test, and then we debugged and said, these are the inputs that are coming in. And then we made another test that called it with only those inputs. And it did not do the same thing. And we were like, I don't get it. It was just, there was a lot of us just looking at the code and being really confused in a way that, like, A, I hate, and B, I haven't had to experience for a while, right? Normally, the closest I get to that nowadays, and I do get to this, and I still hate it, is what I think of as like the secret handshake. So like when I'm using someone else's API, and I have to do these 3 things for the API to work, but I don't no idea what those 3 things are. And I'm just sort of stumbling around saying, like, is this the password? Is this the password? Right? Looking at a piece of code and not understanding what the computer is doing on those assembly sections, that has been a long time since I was just like, holy crap, everything I understand about logic does not get me to the same results of what the computer is doing right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. So, yay, this is up, and this also means that it got released. Let me go find here. I'm just going to drag this over so you can see if I can work out.
Maybe sometime we work on that again, and we could make sure to stream it.
Yeah, the downside is I now know, like, I can definitely do the problem again. I think it would be interesting to do again. I can't do it with beginner mind. Like, I can't forget what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have the same thing with Gilded Rose because I've done it so many times.
Exactly.
Okay, this is a 10-minute thing now.
Yeah. You can do Gilded Rose in 10?
Yeah, it's probably more like 15.
It's still a 40-minute problem for me, but I'm very happy with my solution.
I present it to a lot of groups when I'm teaching them things, and so I've practiced it a lot.
Oh, nice. Have you seen me do it?
I don't think so.
You might find it interesting. And I have that one of those recorded. This one. And
all right. So hello, I'm Llewellyn Falco.
Now it's up, and I can't see it. There.
You just got it in the chat.
Here's the chat. There you go.
Nice.
Okay, so this is up. This is here. This was an approvals.
This is C++. Oh no, this is Java. Wait, what do we have? What do you have? CPP. Maybe you're looking at multiple things.
Yeah, I have a thing of all my stuff.
Okay.
So I don't use this anymore, but I wrote a Java thing that C++ doesn't have a Maven story really. Right? It doesn't have a package manager. And so, and it's ridiculously, stupidly hard to do a lot of configuration in C++. So we deploy by making a single header file, which makes it much easier. But of course you don't want to write a single header file. So we wrote code that takes multiple header files and creates a single header file. And originally I wrote that code in Java, but then my co-author was grumpy. And so we moved it over to Python.
Okay.
I think like I'm not happier with the Python code than I am with the Java code, but it does make it so that we can both work on it, right? And like she didn't want to install Java, and I've been less happy with the Java story since Oracle bought them. It used to be by far my favorite language, and then they did a lot of things that like were painful. Just like back when Java 6 and 7 came out, it felt like the innovation in the language died a bit. But then when Oracle bought them, it was just a lot of what was great about Java has been slowly chipped away. And I am fearful of the new licensing.
It's a good language for approval tests because there is a lot of legacy code in Java.
Yes, there is that. But every once in a while I have these. I'm not sure what's going on with my Eclipse right now. I'm going to try to kill it and restart it. Every so often I have these fantasies that Google bought them instead of Oracle, and like I can actually fix the problems in the language. But you know, if wishes are fishes.
Have you thought about a Kotlin version?
So one of the things that's interesting to me about Kotlin is they're like, hey, this is a way to like move off of Java. And then they made it so that it really does not compile. Like if you take Java code and just try to compile it in a Kotlin edit, like that doesn't work at all. Right? They should have kept, I feel like they should have kept the syntax much, much closer. And in fact, one thing that I would have liked is if they just literally like had we will not make any breaking changes to the Java syntax for like the first few versions, and then afterwards anything that we do that breaks syntax comes with a program that will upgrade your code, right? So that there is a much more viable path to Kotlin. Right now, taking old code and moving it to Kotlin I am unaware at least of a good path for that. You can write new code and integrate it with your old code. But it's very different to like adding new things on to a legacy project is very different than moving a legacy code project off of something. Yeah. And there's so many easy things you could do that would make Java better, right? Like you could just remove checked exceptions. Totally backwards compatible. Would work without issue. You could also like put like a number, like so we have number. We don't have there's not a common base class between an array and a collection.
Sure.
Yeah, like there should be. Possibly autoboxing needs to be improved significantly, right? So it doesn't work with templates at all. Like it'd be nice. There's generics are another easy thing you could do, right? So here, you got me on a rant. Sorry, man. Java runtime generics. There we go. So this is like a trick I use a lot in Java. When I want runtime information of generics, I use this in the Hadoop code a lot.
Can't see your screen. All right, I can see. All I can see is the close.
Oh yeah, that's what. So I think my computer right now is like, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. It's coming up. It's just going really slow. There. Can you see that?
There it goes. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. Basically, the idea being here that you can't say here's a new array list of string and then say, or then you have to do a to array list of string. But you can't just say to array.
Mm-hmm.
Right? and cast it as a string array. You shouldn't even have to cast it. You should just be able to say list up to array.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can do that if anytime you make so basically whenever you have a T, you have a constructor of class of T. Right? And if you do that, then basically you can write this, right? So here's my list of string class and to array with type. And this pattern works really, really well, but I shouldn't have to write it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should be the case that just any time I make a template T, it passes in a parameter class of T, right? And just the editor does that, like the compiler does that for me. Because the neat thing about this is like, if I do it wrong, if I do int class, it will not compile. Like there is one and only one answer that makes this compile. And when there's code that is always the same, like if there's something you always have to do, you should never have to do it. And so like you could completely do this, it would be completely backwards compatible with all the other source. And all of a sudden we'd have runtime information and generics, which opens up a huge world of what you can do with templates. So there's a whole bunch of improvements that you could do to Java, keep that backwards compatibility. And like I wish Kotlin had taken that approach and said, we are going to make it so Java is better, instead of we're going to make something that is really great and compiles to the JVM. But like, I don't see Kotlin as a path out of Java. I just see it as an alternative language that compiles to the JVM.
Right.
Like, I see Kotlin and Clojure in the same space.
Scala, yeah.
Scala, yeah. All of these are...
2 slides earlier than this,
Yeah.
where you had the field. So is it not legal in Java to say t.class?
You don't have T. You don't have T at runtime.
That's right.
Like this is the whole problem that we have, is you can't do T. You don't have T at runtime. This allows you to do that. Right? So like, where did I do it? I do it somewhere. Yeah, so here I'm doing this line of code, which is a little unfortunate that you have to write it this way, but whatever. If you're the one using it, like you can figure this stuff out, right? So basically I'm saying, give me a new instance of type T and then do the size. The only thing is that type T, to have that, I have to capture it in the constructor. And again, like it's a simple pattern. I do it in Hadoop because Hadoop, the map reduce, you really want to be able to have a map reduction that gives you back the right stuff. And to do that, it needs to know the information at runtime. Anyhow,
I always get tripped up on combinations where I do lowercase I int instead of capital I integer.
Which, again, that would be a really simple thing to do and wouldn't break any backwards compatibility, right? And just make it just auto-boxing in templates. Anytime in a template thing that you use an int, uppercase it, like boom, then we're done. It's not hard to do. It's just annoying that it hasn't been done. And I think part of it is the same reason we didn't get lambdas for so long. We didn't get var for so long.
Just recently, yeah.
Is I think the designers of Java language, they look at the consumers of the Java language really badly. And the same reason we still don't have extension methods, and they gave us defender methods, which that's a pile of crap. Like, they're only thinking about what can I do. They're not thinking about, like, not that many people write lambdas. A lot, like, or second order functions, right? Like, a lot of people will use streams. Almost everybody uses streams. But the people who write the stream interface, not that many people do that. And I think the Java language people don't pay attention to that. And I think that's why a lot of that innovation left the Java community and went to, like, well, at the time, the Ruby community, but now a lot of it went to Scala and JavaScript. But, yeah. All right, I will end that rant. Let's go to approvals.
I've forgotten what we're doing.
We are getting rid of the deprecations. I think. Wow. Let's see if I got this run wrong. Right. There are a lot of approvals there. Well, doesn't seem happy. So hopefully I didn't. Huh. It doesn't seem even remotely happy. Project. Oh, it's building. Okay. No idea why it's taking so long to build, but AWT, right?
Yeah, they're
Okay. Yeah.
Is it building everything in the workspace before it runs?
I mean,
refreshes the pond?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not even about refreshing the pond. It's just rebuilding everything, which normally is not a problem. It's usually quite quick. Again, I think my computer is just really hurting handling the streaming. So it's screen sharing on the Zoom. It's capturing that and broadcasting that on Twitch, and then there's just no more space. So I'm just going to stop that. Stop that. We are going to do a weird thing, but we're not going to use an IDE to edit. Feel weird about this, but let's bring up Visual Studio Code. And my shortcuts are going to go way down here, so open file, Control Command P, approvals, Java, there we go. And don't care about any of this stuff right now. Component. That would have been a better search. Formatting. And that was all of our deprecation, right?
Yep, just the 3.
And then that should mean that all 3 of these are out now.
Mm-hmm. It's importing AWT approvals. We could probably get rid of that too on line 9.
Good point. All right. Again. There we go. All right. And then, now this is weird, but what is it? MVM test?
Yeah. Are there existing tests we need to map over to AWT? Hopefully this will tell us.
Yes. The answer is there should be. This is why you always use an ID. Which is still running in the background and still building. Okay, so the answer is it should be. However, look at this. This machine isn't configured, which most definitely should be. So let's copy that.
And approval test Java completed in 0.014 seconds. Can you go into the approval tests directory and run a Maven test from there?
$33 seems light.
Should be 60 something. So if I went to the IE, yeah, there's 68 tests. 7 of them are ignored.
The ignored one should be the machine specific, right?
Yeah.
Why am I not seeing tests here? Source. Oh, because I forget my Maven structure. There we go. Huh. Wonder why that name changed. Just like the chance Eclipse is behaving now. Nope, I was wrong. That succeeded, which I wasn't expecting. Ambient verify? Wonder if that gives us a different result. Like taking out those deprecated methods should actually cause a build failure, right?
I would hope so.
That looks different at the very least because it looks like it opened. Something that it did pass. So let's go up a level. And run that again.
Yeah, I just deleted them on mine and ran the tests, and everything passed.
Before you deleted them, could you find usages?
Yep, let me bring it back.
Those should all have tests against them. They should be turned off on your machine.
Ah, okay.
They should be in the machine specific, but they should all have tests against them, which I think in IntelliJ means your build shouldn't have passed.
I'm not finding the usages. Is it not detecting the machine-specific tests?
Hey, I'm getting another add this to the machine specific, but it did add that.
Okay, the component one, I'm finding usages. The one for image and for buffered image, I'm not finding usages.
Yeah, that's possible. Where's the component one? Oh, I didn't save the file.
So one is in Arlo's Git notation prompt test. There's one called approved component, test approved component.
Oh, that looks right. And this
and one test TV guide.
There should be AWT improvements.
It probably still compiles because object, because it's still an object, and isn't that one of the overloads?
That is one of the overloads. That is, thank you. That is why it's compiling. And then it's not failing because it's not getting run. So, wait, did I rerun this?
Did you get the TV guide one and the approved component?
No.
Okay.
TV guide.
So it's in the approval tests .java inside of machine specific tests.
Yeah.
There you go, those two.
Both of these should be AWT approvals. AWT approvals. AWT approvals. So save that. Also save this. Hopefully this should fail. Let's see if Eclipse is back to me yet. No, god damn. There we go. Good. Failure. Now I save these two things. I run this again. Oh, it's in the HTML locker. That's funny. That's weird. One of the, okay, still failed, and that is almost expected. There are test failures. Individual. For the individual test results. Okay, well. But also it should be right up here, right? No such method. There we go. Approvals.verify component. And this is happening in web page test. P web page test.
Alright, I missed that one.
Yeah. AWT approvals. And looks like that should be okay. AWT approvals. This cycle time is long, so let's go into HTML locker and do an MDM verify here. Alright, good, that's working. The thing that's weird, right? Okay, so this still looks like it's saying this machine is not configured to run machine-specific tests. And if I open up machine specific, let's get that out of the way. There we go.
And when I run it, it says that, and it definitely does not run them.
But here I have a list, and I have this, and I guess I can just say force run is true. And it's not the best way to run it, but okay. Force run definitely equals true, right? And I put this into the thing. Force
Is
run.
there a different set for the HTML locker? Or does it use that one?
There's only, it looks like there's only one machine specific, period. look at machine specific test, if it is not configured for testing, display the message. But should be displayed for testing.
Oh, does it not? Well, it should recompile it.
Should. Maybe it doesn't because we're in HTML. Maybe it's pulling that already from the other thing. But so let me go up and then go into our approval test, because this was another thing that was weird. When we maven this, let's just test. I didn't see that same warning. And I should. In fact, these tests should have been failing. It shouldn't have gotten all the way to the HTML locker before it failed. So here we are. Testing G. Failed success, no warning. Now let me just put this to false. And make it so this doesn't do that. Actually, I like that less than false that, and let's do that. So now it doesn't contain it, and now do this. Good. Build failure. Wait, build failure?
In machine specific, because it's a list. You're not going to do a new array list.
I didn't add it.
Or is it list.empty or something like that?
Let's just do arrays.asList.
Alright.
So, it feels so weird going back to the command line in Java, like the languages. This is the experience where I usually have a nice turnaround feeling. Okay, so I don't see the warning here. And I absolutely 100% should. This should show you're not set up for machine specific tests.
You switched it back to false, right?
Yep, false and empty. And if we look at machine specific tests, we have it before. And we have like the TV guide thing. I might be using this wrong. Wait, something's not right.
So mine displays the message.
It displays
And then
it when you run approvals or when you run everything?
When I do Maven verify on the whole thing.
On the whole thing.
And,
if you do it just in
yeah.
approval tests.
Okay, let me go into that next. No, it doesn't display it there.
Sure. Which means I don't think it's running those tests. The other thing it should be doing then is failing. Right? Like, I mean, let's be more specific about that. So if I open up approvals here and make it like this, test fail, whatever. It's a shitty name, but I don't even care. Throw new exception, boo. So no way that's passing. Yep, so that's not getting run. So let's find out why.
I'm going to have to leave in about 10 minutes, by the way.
Sorry about this.
No problem.
This is the Palm.
That's the one inside of approvals.
Yeah. And so when you run verify, where does that get set up? Where do we define verify?
Doesn't that come from one of the plugins?
Maybe. It's not in here. So one of the things, we know that the tests are getting run not in machine specific tests, right? So we know that the approval tests.
Can you open one of them and put throw an exception or something, just so that we can make sure that we're sure?
Yeah. So here's approval test. And we'll just change that from 200 to 2. Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, I think what we're doing right now is the right thing to do, right? Verify our assumptions.
Mm-hmm. And you're in the approval test directory, okay.
Yeah. Yep, and it popped up over here. Exactly as we would expect.
Okay, good.
Okay. Thank you. It doesn't, on the other hand, want me to be able to do anything about this. Alright. So step one. Undo that. Save it. Close it. So something is set up here. So these are all the dependencies. Can't be a problem with the dependencies. Build Maven assembly plugin. Okay, so if we look at the structure here, let's collapse everything back down. Open up approval tests. Open up source. Open up tests. Open up Java. The org is getting run, but the machine specific test is not getting run. And I assume, I'm not sure why these would be different.
Should be a valid package name.
Yeah. Let's do a search here for approval tests. So this is in dependencies. That's the only place it shows up. So it can't be that. Let's do a search for org. Expecting to see this quite a lot, I guess. Actually, maybe it would be better to do a search for tests. Test. Scope test, scope test. Scope, these are all dependencies again. Here. So I think this is saying build the Maven plugins. Test jar?
I'm not sure what that's saying.
I'm not sure. This is for parents merges. Append to package interface. Alright, I don't know why that is. I can run this in Eclipse. So my suggestion is, once I turn off Twitch, I'll try doing it. And in fact, let me